So first of all, first and foremost, I'm Aviad
Mhm.
Cohen from AV Master, and it is my absolute pleasure to be in your digital living room with Randy Klein, CEO of Crestron. And it's going to be a special interview for us since this is a special event for us. Um, I'll start off with some build up for the first question. Is how would you or how could you give us a short summary of or an overview of for 50 years as an icon in this industry?
Well, first off, I don't think I'm an icon. Um, I'll get the true definition of that, but what it really means is 50 years. There's no set, the two words of 50 years in short don't belong. So if you want this to be a 30-hour interview, I'll give you the whole rundown. The bottom line is, what have I been doing? I'm just somebody that got involved early on, some nearly 50 years ago in this industry as a fluke. I've been born and raised in a ski resort town in Utah. Park City, Utah is where I grew up, and Salt Lake City, Utah. And it was cold there, and I was working in construction because you could make a lot of money working in construction. And I got tired of working outside in the cold. So I got introduced, I just answered a want ad for an audiovisual salesman. And it was the coolest thing in the world. I got this company car. It was a yellow station wagon. And I got to drive around through several states in the Western United States. They're Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and drive around these states with selling film strip projectors to librarians. Now, probably the vast majority of this audience doesn't even know what a film strip projector is, so we won't even go into that. But 50 years means, um, there were no faxes, there were no computers, there was nothing. I had my station wagon, I drove, I called on schools and sold these things. And that's it's a great segue into look at this 50 years, not even a fax machine. Look what our industry has done, and look how it's changed. And I don't want to say growth, but changed so much. And you compare it to any other industry, compare it to the automobile industry. What was the car 50 years ago? Yeah, it looks much nicer and cooler, or goes faster or stuff like that. But look at the changes in our industry. And I think that's what is probably the thing that continually always drives me to stay in this industry, because it's fascinating the way it evolves and changes so quickly. And of course, with those evolutions and changes comes opportunity, and I like success. I like to change things and do things and create successes.
I think that's mainly of the spirit of the things you've done over the last 50 years, not highlights. But it does go back to where we started off with this conversation. So, with your permission, I'll move on. And you've been managing Crestron so many years. What's it like? I mean, what main challenges did you have over the years? Which ones changed the way you think and manage?
Hmm. Manage, that's an interesting word. Well, I'll just tell you, it's the greatest, if you want to call it a job, it's the greatest job one could ever dream for. It's such a great company because it provides me and everyone the landscape and the resources to be successful. But as a privately held company, we get to do what we think is best for the customer, not for the bank or the board or anybody else. We get to do what's best for the customer. And as such, the main challenges, I hate to be so, high level speaking, but the main challenges are just two main things: time and people, and not enough of both. There's just not enough time in the day, in the week, in the month to accomplish all the things that are possible and we want to accomplish. And getting good people, we don't have a problem keeping good people, because once people come here, they see that this is a great place to work. And on that note, just as a side note, people come here because they want to work here and they want to work with each other. That's why we have so many people that have been here for so many, many years. But it's hard to get all those people, you know, and enough people to do what I have dreams and ideas for. So time and people, just getting enough of them and getting things, because there's no shortage of devotion and dedication and ideas and visions, but we need more time and people to do it.
You know most of the people working with you. Do you know all of them, some of them? I'm not talking internationally, but nationally within the US.
Look, I make it a point to quote, know as many as I can. I make it a point, but you know, you have to have, it's hard to get around. We have several thousand people. It's got it hard to get around, and a lot of things that I have to do. But if I don't know them personally, I do recognize who they are and what they do, and I do above all. I have just a profound sense of appreciation for everything that everyone does, and I have one basic guidance and principle that I follow for all the people that we have. They are all equally, very, very equally and critically important to the company. The person on the production line that puts a, you know, screw into a box, as opposed to me at the very top of that organizational chart, we're the same. We're equally the same. If he doesn't do his job, there's a problem, obviously. If I don't do my job, there's a problem. So I don't know each one of them personally. But I do, I can tell you, it reminds me, I do know when they come. In every lobby, or when they join us, in every lobby of our buildings around the world, every month we have a digital signage thing, the monitor playing in the lobby of the building. And that probably gives me the most pride and gratitude than anything, because outside of the normal things that are on there, here's the jobs that we did at our customers and new products and stuff like that. There's a section in there and it shows the years of service of all these people. Wow. We show people around the world that have been here 5 years, 25 years, 35 years, you know. It shows the years of service, and that is several pages long. And then right following that is all of the people that have joined us this last month. And that too is several pages long. And so I look at all these people and it's just a huge sense of pride and appreciation. But here's this person, they've come to us and they've committed to us. And I know, and I hope at least that I know that many, many months from now, years from now, they'll be on that years of service section.
This is amazing. I mean, you run this huge company and yet you still are loyal to your values, which is a people person. Anything beyond that is useless. It has to be about people, working with people. Yeah.
Here is, I was digging out some old, you just reminded, here, digging out some old, cleaning some things out, and I got files and files dating back 31 years, okay, but you can't see this, but this is a product catalog in 2003. And if you can see down here, this saying, it says products plus people. And nice. That is a saying that we've had that I don't want to say I created it, but we created it so, you know, decades ago, because yeah, we've always been noted for our technology and we've always been noted for our innovation, but technology and innovation isn't anything without the people behind it. And so our slogan, shall we say, has always been and continues to be products plus people, because companies are made up of people. Lots of companies have products, but companies are made up of people. And that's why that component of a company, the people component, is by far the most valuable that any company should ever have. And every company leader, because I know I do, should recognize that and do everything they can to cherish it.
Thank you. This actually goes through. So, what was the management vision you had at the beginning, and how much did it change, if any, throughout the years?
Well, it changed immensely in the last 31 years. But the vision, I mean, I don't even call it a vision. I'm in sales by background, so I'm not an engineer. I'm not an accountant or anything like that. And when I got here, we didn't have much business. We hardly had any customers at all. Very, very small, very, very small. And but I believed in the opportunity. My wife actually was one of our sales reps back then. That's how I got introduced to the founder of the company, George Felsing. She still is. She still runs the sales the entire northeastern United States. My son-in-law is the vice president of sales for our enterprise customers. So it's a family business, shall we say, in that regard. But we didn't have any customers or business per se. And I did believe in the opportunity because I saw through the lenses of my wife. But as I've said before, we built this company one customer and one sale at a time. So knowing that we did that, the vision, if you may, was customer service. We didn't have a customer service department. I established the first customer service department before sales or anything, because anybody can sell. I'm a good salesperson. Anybody can sell something once, but twice is customer service, and three times is customer service. And that was the founding principle, I think, that I tried to impart. Of course, it changed over the years, but it really evolved into and it's still our core principle is I really believe that as a company, we made control systems and touch panels. I said, we have to own, as it evolves and develops over the years, we have to own all of the technology or be partners in ownership of all the technology in every room, in every building, in every modern home. And so that's what led to our expansion of our technology portfolio, shall we say, outside of touch panels and control systems. And we got criticized for it a lot when we started making switchers, digital meters. Oh, you're going out of your core competency. You don't know what you're doing. And we were committed and we prevailed. But that's the vision, I guess, where it started, where it developed, and where it led to, and where it continue is. It is owning that technology in the space.
Okay, so walk me through this. So you're a salesperson with all your heart, but still as a salesperson, and you're a visionary, you have your beliefs, you follow them. In this market, in this industry, you have to recognize trends,
right?
Not react, not respond, but rather, you have to be the initiator. So right. What main trends did you identify over the years, and how do you prepare for them, or how do you predict them?
Well, I don't want to use the word trend, let's say, but I do agree that, look, people call themselves leaders, and I don't think that we're not a leader in the industry. Leaders a true leader of an industry, what they do is they shape, or they develop, or they create industries, and that's a real leader. So you look out there and you have some vision. I was very fortunate to have by my side was our Chief Technology Officer, Fred Bargetzi. Fred and I, he was the engineer and I was a salesman, and we would look at things and say, that's what we have to do. We said, people, before my time, the company, right when I joined the company, there was this brand new thing called a microprocessor-based control system instead of some switches that you flipped on the front. But when we started taking that to the next level, and that was, people had a handful of remotes. It says, no, let's replace those with something else, and thus the touch panel and the color touch panel. We said all these things The technology behind it and the topology was a proprietary network. And soon, Ethernet was this trend, as you call it. Well, we should adopt our technology onto that Ethernet thing. And we were the very first things to do that. Of course, the very big one, is digital media. We single-handedly transformed our industry from analog to digital. That trend, we recognized it. Fred and I were at a consumer electronics show, 15, 16 years ago. So that's the new trend. And the trend that we're now trying to push, shall we say, up, and it is an uphill battle sometimes, is I don't have a name for it. We have to figure out a name for it, but it's the combination of UC and AV. It is the technology. And Crestron is really, really fortunate, uniquely fortunate, exclusively uniquely fortunate, because outside of everybody, we're the only ones that have everything. We have UC technology, we have AV technology, we have the other things that put them together, like XIO, cloud provisioning and management software. So we've got to wrap all this stuff together and maybe call it something. I don't know what it is, because it's not UC and AV, and it's not workplace technology. We have to make up a word, I guess. That's what I told the marketing guys, go make up some word. But that's what it is. And that's the way people obviously are going to communicate and collaborate and work and even play in the future, because of the combination of this technology. And as these technologies emerge and develop.
I would have to sort of rephrase what I asked, because you are right, because the term trend is, it comes and goes, but perhaps the word shift would be more.
And we didn't prepare. We didn't predict anything. I think you prepare by it's like preparing for anything else. You become and you remain strong. You remain ready for change. You remain ready to adapt, ready to push forward. Change is many people, many companies resist a lot of change, because change carries a lot of risk. Okay, but another core concept that I've kind of practiced over the years is I call it balance. You have to put one foot in the future and keep one foot in the present, and move forward with very measured steps, not too fast, not too much, or else you get out of balance and tip over. And that's how you move forward. So you prepare for it, and you execute for it that way. Anybody that predicts it, then they've got this super duper crystal ball that I would like to have, but I don't know that there is such thing.
I love playing make believe that I can pretend, but what I usually do when I did consulting is, you look at where things are going, and as you sat with Fred back then, I think this is the next step, makes the next logical step. I think that's where we need to go. And when people ask me how to prepare themselves, I don't think technology should dictate. It should adhere to our needs. If you identify those needs, then you know how to, I wouldn't say prepare, but how to plan for the future.
The products that we have, they're just the product of all of that preparedness, of all of those things that they do. That's the result of everything else.
Yeah. So Randy, during your shift, so during your time,
my 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. shift, then I'm done. I do, demand after 5 p.m. overtime and double time on weekends. So I got to make sure we get the nomenclature right on my shift.
So we've seen Crestron grow with you from a very small company, as you mentioned, to this I think either one of the largest or the largest company in this industry. And What can you tell us about your globalization vision, and and of course, we'll be happy to hear the how we fit in there, this small, hot, and very humid as of late state called
Oh,
Israel.
Israel. Oh,
How do we fit in that, huge
I
growth of yours?
better tell you what you want to hear, huh? Oh, here.
No, 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 no.
I'll just kid.
I never. I hate it when people
Told
tell me
me I
what I
could
want to
kid
hear. I want to
around.
hear the truth.
Oh, now
How
how
you
can I
see
tell the
things.
truth? How can I kid around and tell the truth at the same time?
Oh,
Oh,
you can
okay.
have that smirk on your face. That would be awesome. I
Um,
love those.
well, look, uh, how did we grow? I think, again, back to the customer concept of one customer, one sale at a time. Um, I used to, I use the analogy, if your wife, you're in Israel and your wife was in the United States and you never saw her, it's probably not going to be that great of a relationship, right?
Agreed.
So, and if you had an intermediary communicate to her through you, in other words, you didn't even talk to her directly, it probably isn't going to be that good either. So why business is no different. We're this company in New York, and the first thing we have to do, says, look, I started with California. It's a country away, 3 time zones away, different cultures and everything. We need to make an office there so we can be next to our customers. Not a sales office, once again, a support and training office. We need to be near those customers, not try to do it here from New York City. And we need to do it directly, not through distribution, to remain committed to a value-added distribution chain called dealers. And we need to do it directly, and we need to be there directly. And that philosophy, shall I say, grew all around the world to some 80 or 90 offices and still continues to grow. Israel is a great example. We have an office there. And because size doesn't matter, size is disproportionate, is really just, it doesn't have anything to do with the size, the physical size doesn't have anything to do with the size of importance or the size of the opportunity. And Israel is a great example. Look at Israel. We have such a gold mine of technology and bright minds, and we get an inordinate amount of business and revenue compared to the size. Okay, and I believe that around the world, because I believe, to coin a phrase, I believe that our strength as a company is only as strong as its weakest link, or its strength is characterized by the amount of Crestron flags planted all around the world. So I just was incensed with making sure that and trying to be successful in Australia. I'd make trips there every couple of months or so, and these people think I'm crazy because it's such small business. But there's an opportunity, and there's a market, and there's a flag that we hadn't put in the ground there. Today, it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars of business today. So every place counts, regardless of size. And Israel, your country, is really incredible in terms of technology and the bright minds that it carries.
Thank you. Randy, you're a decision maker. You personally led. I mean, you would of course add your people that contributed to this success, but still the leader. You brought Crestron to its current position as a market leader. And how does Crestron see the industry future, and how do you see your industry challenges regarding last changes that took place by COVID-19 and its effect on the lack of chips, for example? That's a big problem I'm hearing from everyone.
Yeah, and
lead time 4 months.
Not limited to chips, let me tell you. But it's a multi-part question, so I'll start from the beginning. I think the future is really, really far brighter than anybody ever thought, independent of any chip shortage or anything. It's just brighter than ever because the world today, I mean, think of it. As I started out, when I started here, there was no fax machine and there was no computer, and how far we've gone. I struggled until recently, actually, until the pandemic. I struggled to tell my mother what I did for a living. She couldn't understand what you did. And then Zoom made that possible, right? So, because the world needs our industry, the world needs us to communicate, to collaborate, to work and to play and do everything we do. We're not a nice to have thing anymore. We are absolutely critical and must have. I think we as a company and we as an industry, we have to transform into more of a, and I hate to generalize it this way, but more of a software and software services type of company. And I don't mean just service contracts or anything like that, but I mean software-based products, and I mean using hardware sometimes as a delivery tool, and how you acquire things, right? Not just buy them, but maybe through subscription services. Buy our Flex product through a subscription basis, which we're starting to do right now. Have our software be endpoints have our software connect to different endpoints, even competitors' products endpoints. Okay, but we're doing that now. We have a software cloud-based control system called VC4. Okay, but why hasn't it caught on more? Because the industry needs to catch on. The industry needs to change and evolve, just like digital media. Because when we first came out with digital media, nobody believed, the analog sunset was not here. But we continued and we prevailed, and that's how the transformation of us and this industry, and we are in the middle of that transformation now. And you'll see some very exciting things out of this company over the coming years.
So I have the final question and a curveball. Hope you don't get upset.
Sure.
I was requested from a mutual friend. So we spoke of this earlier, but
I already know who that is. Yeah.
Well then, but you haven't heard the first question.
Well, so, I haven't heard the question, but I can imagine it's going to have a few things, knowing this mutual friend.
It's okay. You are moving to your next challenge, which would be like golf coursing for a couple of weeks. And as I've heard for the last few minutes, probably that's not gonna cut it. But where do you think we might see you next? Will it be within this industry or your next evolution?
Well, I can't tell you. I'd have to kill you. So let's start from there. No, I'm just kidding.
No, the killing me part is a good thing because that leads me to the final question.
Look, I will tell you, I haven't made any decisions yet. Other than the fact that I by no means will even consider throwing away a half a century of knowledge and experience and contacts. I've invested my life in that. Why would I throw it away? How do I apply that? Where do I apply it is still up in the air. And honestly, I know this, maybe this sounds like just irresponsible. I haven't even thought about it because I'm working, as you can see, I'm in my office, and I'm just I am the type of person, like we were chatting earlier, there's no part-time in me. So I can't sit here at this desk and I only think about and do about one thing, and that's this company. Now, when I leave this desk, then I'll allow my brain to think of something else. I just know that I made the decision that I won't throw that 50 years away. And then one of the reasons why, outside of the obvious, is I really do wholeheartedly, I really do believe in this industry and love it more than anything. Well, except for my family, love it more than anything. And when you combine that with the half a century of what I've been doing, it kind of wouldn't be good to just throw it all away, would it?
No, that would be
I don't.
reckless. I
I
think
don't
that
want
would
to
be
keep
reckless.
going on the golfing analogy, but some guy plays 50 years of professional golf, and then when he decides he's going to retire, he doesn't decide he's going to go be a baseball player. You know?
You had a basketball player who did just that, then came back to basketball,
Then he
I
came
think.
back though.
Yeah, he did. And I
Yeah,
think he took another championship afterwards.
yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
So that's all I can. I mean, honestly, if I knew, I would probably give you more information, if, as much as I could or would. But I really don't know because I really haven't thought about it. But I will soon. And then maybe we'll meet again. Our mutual friend will cause you to say, now what's going to happen? All I know is whatever I do, I want to, no matter what, will give everything I have to it to be successful, whatever it is.
Agreed.
And just for the record, to define success, it isn't big money, all that kind of stuff. Success for me has always been something that you do to make a difference, or to build, or to change. You know, a guy that builds a house is a great example. Starts with a hole in the ground, and pretty soon there's this beautiful house that he has built. That's success. So that's what I'm going to do, is be successful.
That I would agree, and I really hope to follow up on that soon or later, but I trust that we will meet. The untold question or unasked question: any chances of you visiting the Experience Center here in Israel?
Now you sound like our mutual friend.
I don't know.
And
you put a flag in the ground. I wonder how you did it.
And my wife, who has been there. I'll never say never. I don't see any time in the immediate future. I can't even go across the country, you know, it doesn't seem like. But I have been told, we have some good friends that returned from there just before the pandemic. And it's interesting, the husband, who I'm friends with, he'd be the last person that I thought would ever take this trip. And they got on a bus and they went some touring and everything like that. He described it and showed some pictures. It's just, he said, it was absolutely wonderful, a beautiful place to visit. So, of course, there's a chance. And I used to say not there's a chance, because the only reason I would go there was for business. Because that's the only place it's the only reason I go anywhere is for business. I've been everywhere in the world, but unfortunately, all I've ever seen is a meeting room or a convention hall. So I do want to go places, Israel included, and see those places instead of just seeing a meeting room.
Whenever you are, my friend, you're more than welcome. I'd be more than happy to meet you, either there or here, wherever. Randy Klein, it has been a pleasure and a privilege, and I hope to see you on your next challenges. And we're of course going to cover whatever new updates Crestron has, as we always have. And enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. See you soon.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.